Welcome into the Mind, Body, and Spirit Radio Show.
What's up, everybody?
It is
Wednesday.
Wellness Wednesday.
September 27th. Sounds like I'm hearing an echo. I'm hearing myself speak. It's a little annoying. I hope it stops.
You actually have a couple of lines open. I'm seeing.
I don't know how the heck that's happening. Let me see something.
Okay, how about now? Are you there, Black Rose? Okay.
Yes, I'm here. No,
Okay.
I still hear myself. Let's see. We have Featherlight though. Let's see. Let's welcome in Featherlight. Let's see if it'll stop. What's up, Featherlight? Namaste. Rather, let me say namaste.
Namaste. How's everybody?
All is well. Mm-hmm. Making it on through. But I'm still here.
Namaste.
Namaste, Featherlight. Yeah, Black Rose, there is a telephone that's dialed in that has your name from Bamo, Texas, and then you're also on the board as dialed in from your computer.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Featherlight, could you go ahead on and read your quote? And let me try to adjust my computer here in my line and see what's going on.
You sound great coming from your computer. Let me hang up this other phone and see if it goes away. Now, we have been having echo issues earlier today. Let me see if I mute myself, if that will resolve it. Okay. All right. Try now, Black Rose. Featherlight, if you want to go ahead and do your reading, she's going to try to call back in.
All right. So my quote for the week is, everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. So be kind. Never mock a pain you have never endured, or judge a situation you've never been in. So this is about judging, and everyone does it. If you're human, if you're walking on this earth, you do it. We judge sometimes without thinking, but this is just something to ponder on, because sometimes we make a judgment about someone, how they're handling a situation, but we have not been in that situation ourselves. So it is easy for us to say what they should or shouldn't be doing, or what they should have done, when we've never been in that situation ourselves. It really pained me when the young lady, her last name was Gaines, when she was killed in front of her children a couple of years back, and all the judgment was against her. How could she do that? How could she go against the police? How could she have that happen in front of her child, rather than consider the police's actions? Why were there so many police bombarding her when there had not been a crime committed? If there had been a crime committed, she would have been arrested, and there was obviously no physical harm done to anyone, yet she was shot and killed. So even our own people were judging her so harshly, and we do not know what that young lady had been through, how many times she had been accosted by the police or by that same particular cop. So just kind of sit back and look at the situation.
You know what? In actuality, I recall her mentioning that she had been harassed by them. One of those cops that had pulled her over that day was familiar with her. So they had apparently been like trailing her, following her, surveilling her for quite some time. So, I mean, that in and of itself is enough to drive someone to a state of anxiety, which we're talking about tonight, too, speaking of anxiety.
Exactly. Plus, she had mentioned that her tags had been taken off of her car, and she was stopped at least once or twice about the absence of her tag. So she was targeted. She was targeted. So we sometimes overjudge. So that is my quote.
Thank you for sharing your quote, Featherlight. So namaste, we are back. I have my system up and running properly now. So I was listening to the Brothers Show prior to Mind, Body, and Spirit, the Abolitionist Radio Show, and it just made me think I was listening to a lot of what they were saying. We do have to really address this issue as slavery, and I'm glad that more people are realizing it. We should invite those brothers to come on and talk about their platform, Abolitionist Radio. I love listening to their show. You should listen. I'm talking to people out there. You should listen. You should continue listening. Listen to them and then listen to us and just keep on listening to Black Talk Radio all day, all night. Definitely. Get your information on. Yes. So tonight we're talking about anxiety and depression in the African American communities. We'll have a conversation with filmmaker and author Rob Aqua. He's returning tonight. You may have listened to his previous show with us, the previous show with Rob Aqua. If you didn't, you can always go back and listen to that podcast and any other podcast. That's Mind, Body, and Spirit Radio Show. Are African Americans less likely to receive help for anxiety and depression? And how do we cope with those haunting feelings? That's what we want to discuss and unpack tonight, because last time he was on, he talked about his works and his awards and his book, The Death of the Dead, but we really want to get more into talking about dealing with anxiety and depression. So stay tuned for him. And tonight, our African Spirit segment is part 2 of Baba Dick Gregory, because there's just so much about Baba Dick Gregory that we could share and relive. I mean, like I said last week, his spirit will continue to live. It just will continue to live within, I know, within me and in our hearts. Yes. So stay tuned. Part 2, African Spirit segment, Baba Dick Gregory, one of the most funniest and enlightening people I ever have met in my whole entire life. So, definitely. How can people contact us, Featherlight?
Mind, Body, and Spirit responds to your letters about life, your spiritual journey, health, relationships, dating, career questions, love, sex, etc. in the Ask Mind, Body, Spirit segment. So you can send your letters to Mind, Body, Spirit Radio Show at gmail.com. That's Mind, Body, Spirit Radio Show at gmail.com, where we discuss hot news, topics, and more. Come on at 9 p.m. Central Time, 10 p.m. Eastern, so you can log on to blacktalkradionetwork.com to hear the show or call in to speak at 866-510-9025. Again, that's 866-510-9025. So you can join in the enriching discussions that always take place on the Mind, Body, and Spirit Radio Show.
Yes, and we still have our donation link active. Donations for those recovering from Hurricane Harvey in the Houston metro area.
And when I say Houston metro area, I'm talking about not just Houston. We're talking about Kingswood, Spring, which looked like a darn river, Spring, Texas, um, was Sugarland, Pearland. Well, Sugarland and Pearland, I don't think they were too affected, but the South Houston areas, Friendswood, Beaumont, Port Arthur areas right outside of Houston, going up north, south, east, you name it, all around this Houston metro area. It's just ridiculous when I drive down some of these streets. It's going to take 6 months or more for recovery. So we are in the recovery and relief phase. We want to form teams that can be ready when the next flood comes. We need to have those items like boats, I can't remember that gear again, the fishing gear. Someone told me the name of it, the fishing gear and the boots. There were so many people that had to leave their homes with flip-flops because that's what we wear here in Houston. It's very beachy because we're all close to different bodies of water. So people wear sandals, light shoes, tennis. Of course, we're in Houston, so we do wear our cowboy boots. But primarily in the winter. So during the summer, you'll see people, up until about November, December, you'll still see people walking around in sandals here in Houston. So I know people that left their homes with sandals on their feet and they don't have any more shoes. They're trying to buy shoes. So you can donate www.ucaring.com/Hurricane Harvey victims -938012. That's ucaring.com/Hurricane Harvey victims -938012. And you can also go into the Black Talk Radio Network webpage and find that link. The brother that I know that was raising funds here in the Houston area, he's from Port Arthur. He did deliver supplies. I saw the video. He had a truckload of like shampoos and cleaning supplies. So those people in Port Arthur were able to receive those goods. And I'm so happy because when I tell you people are starting over, I mean people are starting over. Imagine going to the store to buy yourself a new toothbrush, not because you just want one, but because your toothbrush you can't use it because Bayou water came in your home and you had to take everything out. So, I mean, people are literally starting over from buying a new mattress to a new toothbrush to a new whatever, pair of shoes, socks, underwear, all of that.
Refrigerators.
Refrigerators. Like I said last week, imagine everything in your home under 5 feet you have to repurchase. That's what people are going through in Houston. And you see their whole lives out on the curb. I was driving home today and just looking down some of the streets, and you still see all of this debris. And so many people are sick and ill. They have intestinal infections. One of my coworkers, she has intestinal infection. Been sick for 3 weeks, ever since Hart been sick. So it's really bad here.
Now, how did she get the intestinal infection?
Well, when their home was flooded with the bayou water and the dams and levees, she was out in the Baytown area. Mm-hmm. So, another area. I didn't mention Baytown. Baytown, close to where the refineries are. So when she left her home due to the flood waters, I think she said they had maybe 3.5 or 4 feet of water. So she only had her flip-flops, and that's what she had on. And so when she went through, was leaving her home. No, I think she actually went back into her home to clean, and she didn't have any shoes at the time. And so she was in the water with her sandals. And so now she has an intestinal infection, sick as a dog. There was already a report of one lady that died from this flesh-eating bacteria from the water. So when I tell you people that have allergy problems, this flooding and the debris that's lingering outside, the smells, it's exacerbating all of that. People, all of us, because here in Houston, we're already suffering from environmental injustice and poisoning. Okay. So now we have this whole situation with all the moldy furniture sitting outside. So it just smells like a big garbage dump in some parts of Houston, depending on where you're traveling. And it's sickening. It's sickening. It really is. It's horrible. And that's one thing that old stupid Red Cross, Red Lost, Dead Cross could do is get out here, since you're not doing anything else. Get out here and get some people, your volunteers that you don't want to pay. Get these people to come pack up this stuff, because I'm sure that FEMA has come around now and taken all the pictures of everything they need to take pictures of so that they can try to give these people some financial assistance. So maybe FEMA and Red Cross could collaborate once FEMA comes take the pictures of the debris, because they have to put the furnishings and everything that they lost outside, and then can't nobody touch it because FEMA has to come by and take pictures and make sure you're not lying that you lost your mattress and all of this stuff. And so why don't FEMA and Red Dead Cross, I'm like that guy on the video now, Dead Cross, why don't they collaborate? When FEMA finishes taking the pictures, then Red Lost come in and remove the debris, because you're not doing anything else, Red Lost. So, yeah, at least you can do that. Yeah, do that.
Money.
That's right. Now, let me share my quote.
Black Rose, I'm sorry. Are you able to see the board? Because I think you have a call.
Oh, okay. Let me see here. Okay, we have a caller from Newport News. You have a question or a comment?
Oh, I'm sorry. I actually did it by accident.
Oh, okay. That's all right.
I'm just listening in. I'm a fan. I'm just listening in.
Okay. Well, great. Thank you for listening in. I've been to Newport News. I have a aunt that lives. I have family that lives there in Newport News. So I'm very familiar with the area up there. Been up that way.
Yeah. I'm born and raised here in York County, so I'm right next door. It shows up as Newport News, I guess, for the main towers. But I love your show.
Okay.
I've been listening in for several months now.
Oh, great. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.
We'll continue listening. Thanks, Scotty. So let me share my little quote here. This is one of my favorite quotes. In fact, this is one of my signatures on my email. On one of my emails, yeah. So the people must know before they can act, and there is no educator to compare with the press. None. The formidable Ida B. Wells Barnett. I love that quote, because that's what we are. We are the press. We are the black press. In this day and time, everybody can be press. It may be fake news. It may be good news or real news, but you can always put out content. And we are the press. We have taken over, especially the black press. We're taking it back. Yes. So I love that quote by Ida B. Wells. All right, so last week, if you did not tune in, we had a great guest, Kim Alonson, on, speaking about her son's case, DeWanye Hickerson. And DeWanye was the former Navy officer studying to be a meteorologist, and he was in this deceptive situation with a transgender person that did not reveal that they were a transgender person. So DeWanye was trying to meet a woman, and he met a person that claimed to be a woman, but this was actually a transgender person. It was a male, and the identity of this person was not revealed until after they had engaged in sexual intercourse. So Kim Alonson has started an initiative called GIA, G-I-A, and it's called Gender. It is the GIA represents Gender Identity Accountability, in which she is lobbying for people to have to disclose their gender prior to sexual engagement. And I agree with that. I don't think that a person has to tell me their gender if they're baking my cake, or I work with them. You want to be a transgender, that's fine. That's your business. But if I'm having sex with you and I think that you're a man, and then you tell me that you're a woman, vice versa, I have a problem with that. I think that people just go ahead on and be honest and give that person the opportunity to decide what they want to do from that point on, but don't be deceptive about it. Don't do that. That's just like me meeting a man and then I tell him I'm 22, knowing that I'm in my 40s, and then I tell him, because I look like I'm 22, but I tell him I'm 22, knowing I'm in my 40s, and then I tell him I don't have any children, and then the fifth time he come over to pick me up to take me out, then here come 5 children running out the house. Oh, yeah, I didn't tell you about them. That's not right.
No, it's not.
Look, that ain't right. That ain't right. That ain't right. No. You got to tell the truth. Tell the truth. The truth shall set you free. That's what they say. So tell the truth. I agree with that. So
I do too.
Apropos of that, so yeah, any thoughts on Kim? We'll have to have her back on also.
Yes, to me, it's all about honesty. It's all about honesty. Honesty. When you become intimate with someone, if you want an intimate relationship with someone, then you owe it to that person to be honest. If you portrayed yourself as someone else initially, then that's a lie to start with. So you're looking for trouble. You're looking for trouble, and it's all going to come out in the wash sooner or later. And sometimes when it comes out in the wash, it can be pretty bad.
Yeah,
you're taking that chance, and in this case, it was
very bad.
You can avoid that by being honest up front.
And don't put people in situations like that. I don't agree with that at all. So, we're going to be talking to Rob Aqua. I just want to call him Aqua, but he kind of chopped me up about mispronouncing his name the last time, so I have to make sure I say Rob Aqua, talking about anxiety and depression in the African American community and how we deal with anxiety and depression. All right. So let me just give my thoughts quickly on all of this kneeling, taking a knee, the protest, what Donald Trump said, his statement in Alabama last week about fire those SOBs and all of this stuff. So we've been dealing with this. We've been hearing this crap all weekend, all week. We've been seeing the football players, different teams taking a knee. If you've been under a rock, this started with Colin Kaepernick taking a knee. At first he was on the bench. He would just sit on the bench, and then he began taking a knee. So people have twisted this whole protest to protesting the national anthem. It's not about that. I'm just making my statement because I know I'm preaching to the choir, those listening to Mind, Body, and Spirit. But I just have to speak my mind, and I need to write about this also. It's not about the darn flag. Okay, you have military people that I have heard speak about how people that are actually in service will not come out and salute and do the colors thing and all of that. I guess they call it the colors when you have to come out. Scotty probably know about all of this. When you have to come out and stand up and salute for the Star Spangled Banner and all that, national anthem, whatever. There's so many people that don't even honor the flag in the way that it should be honored in the first darn place, because I just recently learned, and I need to research this more, though, but if you wear flag clothing, you know how people like to wear their flag clothing for the 4th of July? That's actually desecrating the flag from my understanding. But I'm not even going to get into all of that. The point of the matter is Donald Trump went through this whole rant and rave and acting like a petulant child, uninviting Stephon Curry and all this foolishness, this silly mess, when Stephon Curry and the Golden State Warriors were actually going to take a vote on whether or not they were going to the White House, and then Donald Trump sends this tweet, all of this crazy mess. And the only reason why I'm actually bringing this whole mess up about the taking a knee and what Donald Trump said and the protests is, number one, because people have twisted this to some protest about the Star Spangled Banner and the flag. It's not about that. Colin Kaepernick began taking the knee, sitting down and taking the knee, along with other players that joined him throughout this, 1 year or so, give or take. because of social and racial injustice. Tamir Rice being killed. I believe he mentioned Tamir Rice, how young boys can be killed on the street and nobody cares. Young boys walking home like Mike Brown, playing in the park like Tamir Rice. Young black girls walking with their brothers like what's her name? The little young girl up in Chicago, Renika Jenkins or something like that. So that's what the protest started about. That's what his taking the knee and sitting down, that's what initiated that. It's nothing about the stupid flag or the Star Spangled Banner. It's not. That's not the focus. And so many people have twisted it to that. And I'm just so sick of these people trying to make it out to that's what this is about. And you're disrespecting the flag. And you disrespecting our vets and all of that. That don't even make any sense. I'm so sick of them. That's all these people do is just try to discombobulate your mind and have you twisted and turned around on the wrong thing. Just distractions, deflections, and illusions. That's what all this crap is. And we need to stay focused and remember why this man started taking a knee in the first damn place. That's what they don't want to deal with. No, it's not about your stupid flag. It's about how you sit here and you kill people. And you allow these cops to get off with it, or you allow some vigilante like Zimmerman to get away with it. Somebody acting in some quote-unquote cop official type of role. You allow them to get away with it. Even with this young man recently, where the cop said he was going to kill this young man. What's Smith, his last name, and the cop's name was Stockley, moved here to Houston. You got to watch your back because they said that fool moved here. But that is what this is about. You allow these cops and other people just to kill people, and nothing is done about it. Nothing. These people kill with impunity, and so that's what this is all about. And I just had to give my thoughts on that. And that was just one person, and the only reason why I'm bringing his name up is because he's the owner of this bar called SNAFU in Lake Ozark, Missouri, and he decided to speak his piece with a disrespectful move by having the jerseys of Marshawn Lynch, who I like, beast mode. I'm just here so I won't get fined. I'm just here so I won't get fined. Marshawn Lynch, beast mode, and Colin Kaepernick. So this bar owner, don't go to this bar. This bar owner placed their jerseys outside his door as doormats. So, yeah, just walk right over. It's just silly. It's so silly and petty. Just silly and petty. And the second reason why I'm bringing this whole situation up is because while Donald Trump is sitting up in the middle of the night tweeting and talking about NFL players and NBA players and all this crap, you need to be trying to take care of your people right here in Texas and in Florida and those colonial subjects in Puerto Rico. That's what you need to be doing, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. And then do your humanitarian aid, help the Dominican Republic, help, who else was it that was affected? What is it? Not Barbados, but the other. But anyway, all of the Caribbean islands that were affected by Maria, the people in Mexico with the earthquake, help these people. Now, we went over there to Sri Lanka after that. What was it, a typhoon or something? But look how long it's taken this government to go over there and help those people in Puerto Rico. They could have flown over there in 48 hours after that hurricane, and that's ridiculous. Those people haven't had any water, no power. I mean, I was about to die. I was about to die, but it was horrible just the 2.5 days here after Hurricane Harvey not having any power. Goodness gracious, I just couldn't even imagine. Jesus Christ. So I have to give it up for this. I have to give it up for this city council member here, David Martin, who spoke out about the Red Loss. He called them the Red Loss, and I just love that. I'm just gonna have to use that. He called Red Cross the Red Loss because they were not helping here in Houston at all. This city council member spoke out about how Red Cross, Red Loss did not bring any mats, cots, blankets, food, water, nothing nothing to the shelters here in Houston. It was the city of Houston, and it was residents here, the citizens who rescued people, who provided for people, who opened up homes for people, who demanded that Joel Osteen open up his church. So it was not Red Cross, okay? And I'm so glad that he mentioned that. I'm so glad. And Red Cross, I'll just mention this quickly because I know you have a piece to share. Red Loss has also been accused of stealing resources that people have been donating. I don't know if people have seen this lady's video, and she's speaking about how Red Cross has been like confiscating like diapers, water, things like that people have donated. And actually, they can do this. Red Loss can actually, they're not prohibited from doing this as a result of executive order. And we talked about this executive order on Mother Hattie's radio show before. Obama's executive order E013603. Baba Dick Gregory used to talk about this. That's the first time I heard about it, when Baba Dick Gregory mentioned it. And this executive order, one specific piece of this executive order that relates to what the Red Loss is actually doing now is they can legally confiscate donations and resources in an emergency or non-emergency. And different agencies can decide on how to allocate resources. So legally, the Red Cross can just take these resources and resell them. They can resell, like if you donate donate diapers, Red Cross can take those diapers and sell them. Or if you say you take some diapers and you say, I'm going to put them on this lady's porch because I know she has a baby here. She's not here, but I'm going to put them on this lady's porch so when she gets home, she'll see the diapers. Red Cross can go and take those diapers because we're in an emergency situation. So they now have the legal authority to do that, yes. So that's basically what the lady was speaking of. So you can check that executive order out. Just go to, let me see, I think I have Obama White House Archive. Yep.
It's crazy.
Executive Order 316, 2012. It's called Executive Order National Defense Resources Preparedness. I'm not going to go through the whole document because it's an executive order. You need to read it. So anyway, moving right along. You have some good news for us?
Yes, I did want to share a bit of good news. We hear so much bad news.
Bad news.
Here
Bad
and there.
news. What you gonna do?
Talking about entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurship.
There's this young boy. He's a young boy in Memphis, Tennessee, actually. He started his own business at the age of 9. It's called Mo's Bows, and his name is Mosiah Mo Bridges. So after being disappointed in the bow ties available, evidently he had a thing for bow ties. He didn't see what he liked, so he decided that he would learn how to sew. His grandmother taught him, and he began selling his bow ties on Etsy. And his products were soon picked up by boutiques in several states. And as a matter of fact, he was invited to the White House, and he was on Shark Tank, and he was mentored by Shark Tank's Damon John. Now he's 14 years old, and he's the CEO of Mo's Bows, handmade bow ties, and he's doing very, very well. Now, this is what he says on his website. He says, "My name is Mosiah Bridges, and I'm the CEO of Mo's Bows. Mo's Bows is a company whose mission is to make you look good and feel good, and caters to the fun, cool, sometimes conservative man or lady. I started my company because I needed an accessory to help me look good and feel good, but I didn't see anything out there that fit my style or my personality. So with the help of my granny, I started making my own bow ties. Never did I imagine that a business birthed at my kitchen table in South Memphis would one day go international. My dream is to become a fashion designer and go to college and study arts and fashion. I'm living proof that you can be anything you want at any age. So that is really, really good. You tend to start at such a young age. Entrepreneurship is typically not taught in school. So good parenting is building this into the souls of our children at home because they're not going to learn it in school. Being decent, upstanding citizens, blah, 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 with a good education, blah, blah, blah. It isn't cutting it anymore. We need to tell our children that they should have their own and teach them the value of ownership. You know, even if we don't own a business, even if we missed that opportunity when we were younger, we can still encourage them and support them. And most entrepreneurs in America choose their profession because they had a parent who told them that they should or could start their own business, even if they didn't have one of their own. So I thought that was very good. Making the money is not enough for where you stop. You should teach your children about sharing the wealth, teaching, building, and lifting their community. You know, we were taught go to school, get a good education, get a good job, buy a house, get a mortgage, get bills, get in debt, you know, and that's it. It's more to life than that.
And that's life, right. It's so much more to life than that. And not only just tell your children, start your own business, show them, pave the way. Make sure that they have the right advisors. Make sure that they're involved, enroll them in some classes where people are teaching you these leadership skills so that they can be prepared for that. It's one thing to sit down and tell a child you need to save some money, but then you don't show them the steps. You don't tell them how much you should spend on groceries, how much you should spend on your lease or your mortgage in comparison to your salary. You have to really show people these things. Don't just tell your children these things. Show them the way. Show them the way. So if you want them to start a business, buy them some books on how to start a business. Make sure that they don't even have to buy the books anymore. Go online, research. So, great. I love that. Thanks so much for sharing that. Thank you, Featherlight. Very good piece. Very good piece on that little boy. I think I did see him on Shark Tank, too. I believe I did. Now, let me ask you this. Did you know that mental health services saw a huge spike in demand the day after the 2016 election? There were so many people that took a day off the day after the election. Yes. So depression, as defined by the World Health Organization, depression is defined as a persistent sadness and a loss of interest in activities that people normally enjoy, accompanied by an inability to carry out daily activities for 2 weeks or more. And depression has risen more than 18% since 2005. That is,
that's a
yeah, that's scary. That's scary. So, we actually want to bring in our guest tonight, Mr. Rob Aqua, filmmaker and author. Rob Aqua. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Welcome, Rob Aqua.
Happy to be back.
Well.
Thank you. Namaste.
We are very, very glad to have you back. You were here with us before at the Mind, Body, and Spirit radio show, and we talked a little bit about your book of the Dead, Death of the Dead, excuse me,
Death of the Dead,
and your poetry, yes. But we really want to hear something from you, from your book, as well as really get into the topic of depression and anxiety and why you decided to address this particular subject, how we in our community deal with depression and anxiety, because, you know, a lot of us, we just, we go through life and it's just, you may feel sad or lonely, but you're afraid to talk about it. I was reading about depression and anxiety with millennials. Millennials now they have the highest rates of depression than any other generation in the workforce now. That is amazing. That's scary also. Between 2005 and 2014, the number of depressed teens jumped by more than 500,000, 3/4 of which were teenage girls. So one of the studies I read mentioned that teenage girls and women, period, are more depressed than men. But we can also look into that. But let's hear from you. What are you up to now, and how are things going with you?
Things are going well. I'm working on a few other new projects. I'm actually putting together a college tour for the book Death of the Dead. I want to go to different college campuses around the country and talk to people about depression and anxiety, and kind of give people the freedom to speak about it and kind of share their feelings. Pretty much. So that's the main thing I'm working on right now.
That is needed. Certainly, just
really
speaking about this report about the millennials. I didn't realize so many young people were depressed until I began actually talking to them about the subject, like what you're doing. Because, you know, we think young people, what do you have to be depressed about? You don't have any bills. You live with your parents. You have your food, clothes, everything provided for you. What is there to be depressed about? But apparently it's something to be depressed about, since so many of them are depressed. And we really need to address that. And I don't know if it's that you just have so many young people that are secluded. They keep themselves ostracized from their parents. I know, like I said, and I've mentioned this story before, I wasn't allowed to just like slam the door, keep my mom out of my room when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And I think now so many teenagers have that freedom where they can have the door closed. And so the parents, they're unaware that their child is just sitting in the room in despair. I mean, there's something going on. And I have to mention this. I viewed this short video of this young girl, and she wasn't speaking, but she was holding up these note cards, large note cards, where she wrote on there, "I'm being bullied. I am depressed. Everyone at my school calls me ugly. They choke me." I mean, she would just flip these cards, and these were the messages on the note cards. And it was just heartbreaking. This was a little girl. She was like 7, and she's experiencing this. And and she was saying, like, no one is listening to me. This girl was calling out for help. So, Rob, I commend you for reaching out to the young people, because we need to do that. We need to have this a safe space for them to be able to express themselves and discuss what's going on in their lives. Oh my God, because I just can't even imagine it. I just really can't. Young people being depressed. But let's talk about when you go to the campuses, when you have your tour. How are you going to help them open up? Because some people may be reluctant to just say, I'm depressed. You know, like I don't think people will raise their hand and say, I'm depressed, because of the stigma. So how do we get them to open up?
Well, first it's going to be a presentation. I'm pretty much want to talk about emotions and how emotions work, and the concept of the emotional body and how the emotional body works. And pretty much explain my personal story of depression and anxiety and things that I've gone through. And then we don't have to just dive straight in, but, you know, just having an open discussion and letting people kind of ask questions, make statements about things. And I feel like from there, it will travel on its own. Whoever needs to say something, whoever needs to express something can get that out, and just creating a safe environment for them to be able to do so.
Yeah. Well, do you mind sharing your story? I mean, is there something that you could share with your story? How did you realize you were depressed or suffer from anxiety or was dealing with anxiety?
So pretty much throughout my life, I suffered from depression and anxiety, more around high school time, or middle. Actually, I could say middle school time, around the time I turned 13. So I couldn't really pinpoint what it was. You made a point earlier when you were talking about, like, what do you young people have to be depressed about? A lot of times, even thinking about that makes you even more depressed, because you're like, I'm feeling this, but I don't even know where the place where this is coming from. I have no idea where it's coming from. But essentially, as time went on, I kind of had ups and downs. And when I went to college my sophomore year, I just felt completely isolated from everyone. And I just didn't feel connection with people. It's weird. I have friends and everything, and just didn't feel that I was able to fully connect with them. It was a vague feeling. But what I figured out as time went on was pretty much there was something that was missing. I wasn't being my authentic self. I didn't know how to be. And then from analyzing, I realized that through society, a lot of times we are taught out of that. And this is even why I even talk about in Death of the Dead, why I feel like we're in a emotional dark age. Like, we don't understand how emotions work. We don't understand what emotions are for. A lot of times, if you're being emotional or sensitive when you're a kid, all kids are emotional and sensitive. And eventually we kind of get to this point where it's like, oh, we got to grow up. We got to stop being like that. We stop crying, stop this, stop that. We have to carry ourselves in what society deems a lot of times as a mature manner. Now, there is a mature way of handling your emotions, but I don't think the way we normally go about it in society is that way. I don't think it's the healthy way. I think society is more about suppressing rather than channeling or trying to figure out where something is coming from and finding a healthy outlet for that. So for me, what I went through was basically I had this. One day I decided that I didn't want to be here anymore. I started thinking suicidal thoughts. I was like, you know what? Life isn't worth it anymore. And for some reason, that gave me like a epiphany. It was like a freeing thing. As morbid as that may sound, I felt more free. I just was like, okay, I can express myself in a certain type of way now, because now it doesn't matter anymore. So for some reason, because of that, I started writing again. And that's something that I had done since I was 8, but in high school I stopped. And I just wanted to be able to express my emotions. I was like, well, if I, die, I want to leave behind something so people can remember me by. I want to make some type of impact in the world. I want to, do something that people can be like, okay, well, Rob felt this way. So, and that ended up giving my life new meaning. In doing that, I wrote an article about this as well. I went into what's called a flow state of consciousness. Have you ever heard of that before?
A flow state of consciousness?
Yes.
No, I haven't. I'm writing it down now. Flow state of consciousness.
Yes, please read up more about it. I'm going to explain a little bit about it. But pretty much it's like when you're in the zone, when you're kind of totally absorbed into the action that you're doing, and you feel incredible, you feel good, creative ideas are flowing to you, you just feel invincible, you even feel expansive, it feels like your intuition is heightened. It's like a whole type of thing. Some people look at flow states as a channeling state. Some people view it like they're tapping into their true selves. Their true selves are flowing. There's no filter between the true self and the outside world to be able to express that. You're able to express yourself clearly. You feel like you can do things that you normally aren't able to do. So in this flow state, yep.
Rob, can I interrupt you? Are you saying flow is an FLOW? Okay.
Yes, flow.
Okay.
FLOW.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. So in that state, I feel like it kind of transformed me. I was able to tap into certain emotions and kind of be present with how I felt. And that's something that I didn't really do up until that point, because everything was about avoidance and suppression. When I actually stayed there and just felt what my depression had to say, I learned a lot about myself and my anxiety, what my anxiety had to say as well. I just learned to be present with it and kind of understand that it's trying to communicate something to me. Your emotions aren't there for no reason. They're a feedback system to yourself. So it's pretty much telling me, what I need to do or what I'm upset about, and kind of even some ideas of what I can do to make that better for myself, to relieve some type of pressure. Because a lot of stuff is belief systems and things you kind of have stuck in your mind. Sometimes it's subconscious things you learned as a child that can be blocking you a certain type of way, or, you know, people suppress different types of things. So being present and being able to kind of go into that and kind of free yourself from that is pretty much what Death of the Dead is about. That's what inspired that.
Speaking of Death of the Dead, could we hear one of your readings? I believe it's round 3 fight. Could you share that with the audience? Okay.
Sure. Give me 1 second. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
All right. So, I don't get tired. I don't get tired. I don't get tired. I remember when I would wake up with a cold, my mother would open my door and turn on the lights like she did every school morning and sing, "Rise, shine, bring God the glory." And I would tell her I didn't feel good. I needed more rest. And she would reply, "Everybody's sick. Now get up and get ready." And so I would. She wouldn't take me serious until I almost passed out in school and the nurse had to call her to pick me up. I'm never tired. But she was only trying to teach me a lesson. The lesson is, regardless of how you feel, you need to push forward. And so, I'm dying inside yet living. I have to make those ends meet, right? Let me introduce them. Hey, N, this is the N. Y'all should meet each other. I think you guys have a lot in common. At least that's what I put in my email after I closed my Google browser. I was tired of looking up my destiny. Come look for me. Application after application, I closed my laptop, then opened my phone before I felt separation anxiety. But I'm still so far away, missing moments I never had. I am living vicariously through pictures and video. Can I just live in this moment and be okay? Oh, never tired, never tired. I know. That's where I went wrong. That's round 3 fight.
Oh, geez.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
That's a powerful piece. You know, I like that because, yes, you talk about, look, I'm going to give you the hand clap. Oh, snaps. Snaps on that.
Snaps.
Yeah, snaps on that. Snaps on that. Yeah, snaps on that. Before I ask you the question I want to ask, let me just jump to this one. What inspired you to write this? What were you feeling, rather, when you wrote this piece?
I was feeling, it was a time period where I was even just reflecting on, you know, getting out of college and having to apply for these jobs. And really, for me, I already had a vision on what I wanted to do. I didn't want to work, you know, these jobs just to make money, just to survive. I wanted to actually just live my life. So it was this conflict between this calling and passion I felt so strong within myself, but then having to be like, okay, I got to dull this down so I can, you know, apply for these other things just so I can get by. And, you know, it's pressure from parents and things. You got to have a job. You got to do these things. You got to, you know, because they're in their head, they're like, listen, we raised you guys. We gave money. We invested in you. Now it's time for you to do stuff because we want to use our money for ourselves. So now you feel guilty. You're like, man, I don't want to just keep leeching off my parents, but at the same time, I just need time to prepare, you know, creating the life that I want to live. So I'm happy living it. So I don't have to just work something that I know I'm going to be miserable. And I don't know how long that's going to be. So it's a conflict of mind. So it's just, that came out of just the frustration of that thought of just feeling like, okay, well, I don't feel good, but I'm doing this job or I'm doing this thing. I'm pushing through like I'm taught. I was taught to push through things, even though I feel like I'm dying inside. And I can't think of any other option right now besides, you know, just kind of just working on what I want to do and kind of following my passion. But then when you talk to people about that are practical, that sounds crazy. I'm just going to follow my heart. They're like, well, you just need to get a job and figure it out from there.
Yeah.
So it was just a conflict of thought. Because for some people, they can tell you, well, I followed my heart and it worked out for me. I just trust God, or I trust the universe, or I trust the flow of my life, and things just kind of came to me. I know people like that. So it's kind of like just a conflict, the clashing of thought and the frustration coming out of that.
Yeah, and everybody's experience in life is different, and we spoke about that earlier. You know, it's your life experience Did your parents listen to you? Did they notice that you had this skill in playing the piano and enroll you in piano classes, or you can jump high and you can flip, so maybe you want to be a gymnast, versus I want you to go and get a job and do this and do that and finish school and all of these things. I remember being young and I had this passion to do this and that, and my father, he would always say, you need to go to school, finish school, and get a job, because that's the generation that he came from, work and get a job. It wasn't, we didn't have these vast opportunities. Well, we couldn't see it at that time. My parents couldn't see it at that time, that there's a whole world out there. Whatever it is that you want to do, go and do it. You don't have to be a slave to a desk. You can go live your dream. You want to draw? Okay, then be an artist. What kind of artist you want to be? So we do get caught up, and we do feel like, oh, yeah, well, I better do this. And I can totally relate to what you're saying. You feel so empty and you feel lost, and you're trying to wonder and figure it out. And we do have to figure it out, and some people can't figure it out, or they have people to help them figure it out, whereas some people, you have it figured out, but like you said, that just doesn't seem to be the right path. Well, other people can't see that that's your path and give you that space and time to walk that path versus trying to push you into this other area or put you into this box. And I think that causes a lot of depression in young people, because what we see with millennials now, they are graduating from college or completing school. Some of them may have student loan debt. You've gone to school for 4 years plus or whatever for this particular field, and then when you complete your studies, you're still unemployed, or you're working at, some factory. You're working at Amazon in the warehouse because you can't find a job in your field. And that in and of itself is enough to cause someone to be depressed. I mean, I totally can understand that. Or even if you're working in the field and you feel like I'm not living my life, there's something missing.
Right.
And so, how do we tap into that, and how do we, when we come back from break, I'd like to ask you this: how do we kind of identify that we are depressed or there's something going on? How can we tap into that and address that, and how do we go about seeking the help? One thing I always say is have some friends or someone that you can trust, that you can talk to, a confidant. If you don't have that, reach out to some type of organization or service that can give you the help that you need, because you don't have to go through this alone. And so many times we try to go through this alone and try to figure it out, when there's actually people like yourself that have been there. They've experienced this, and you can actually give them some guidance. So let's talk a little bit more about that when we come back. We'll take a quick break. You are tuned in to the Mind, Body, and Spirit show with Rob Aqua, award-winning filmmaker and author of Death of the Dead. We'll be right back.
Podcasts and live program scheduling, visit us on the web at blacktalkradionetwork.com.
All right, and we're back here at the Mind, Body, and Spirit radio show with Rob Aqua. I just like to say your name like that. Rob Aqua. You just can't say Rob Aqua. That don't sound right. You have to say Rob Aqua. Exactly. But your name is actually Rob Jenkins, and Rob Aqua is your pen name. How did you come up with that pen name?
So that pen name, I came up with it when I was in 5th grade. It was just, I guess, like an alter ego or another name I called myself. For whatever reason, I was really into like superheroes and stuff like that and science fiction as a kid, so I just took on that name to be that for myself. So then years later, when I was about to publish books, I realized there were just so many Rob Jenkins out there, and I just wanted to make it easier for my readers to find me. They can just Google me or, type it in wherever. And I just chose that name. That name just came to my head again, so I just kind of a homage, I guess, to my childhood self.
There you go. All right, then. Well, we have a quote that Featherlight is going to share with us, and we can pick back up on our topic. Featherlight, we are ready for your quote.
Okay. This is a quick one, and I don't have to explain it. Many people would be scared shitless if they saw in the mirror not their faces, but their character. Their character appeared in the mirror.
All right now. All right.
Okay. So, Rob, we're going to continue with what you have to share with us. And Black Rose asked you a question about how can you tell that you're depressed. I know that when I was in school, I was separated from my parents, both of them, one behind the other. And I was orphaned for a little bit of time, and then my mother came and got us. It was very, very, very difficult for me. But nobody, no teachers, nobody could see that there was something wrong. I was a very smart child in school, but all of a sudden, I was just getting by with C's. I was cutting class because I couldn't arrive at school on time. I had to catch 2 buses to get there. And nobody could see that, hey, there's something wrong with this child. So how can you tell that, and of course I hadn't heard of the word depression, so I didn't know I was depressed. But I made it through, but it was extremely difficult. And what kind of advice can you give us? How can we tell, and what can you do? What helped you?
Honestly, what's helped me is, or at least even how I could tell I was depressed, how depression feels for me is like kind of like a dark cloud. It's the best way I can kind of like visualize it. It's a pain. It's like a sadness that is just with you as you're doing stuff. And if you like sit and you watch your thoughts, you see that you're thinking sad thoughts. Things are just negative in your mind. I lose motivation for things. I don't feel like getting out of bed. There's no that drive for me to do something. That drive is gone. That fire is dwindled. And I'm just kind of going through the motions. It's kind of like I'm like a hollow shell of myself, living day to day.
So you're like
sometimes on autopilot.
You're like on autopilot, right?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So that's how I was able to tell I was depressed. Or even just having the word for it, like you said, you didn't know even there was a word for depression. I don't think I was. The time I first started feeling this, I don't think that I really was aware of even putting that word to the feeling yet until later. What helped me was being, and still helps me today, when it's how I treat my emotions today, is pretty much just being present with them and figuring out what they have to say. There's been mornings, for example, where I wake up sad and I'll just sit there with the sadness for a little minute and kind of think about it, and then just being present, just kind of letting it be in my body and kind of giving it the space to express itself. And then every time, usually there's like a little thing at the back end that kind of shows me why I'm sad and kind of gives me an idea of how to change that or going about something. Recently, I can tell a story recently, is I woke up and I felt sad, and I sat there with it. And what came up to me was like, I need to move. I need to move. I live in Orlando, Florida right now. And I got the idea from that. I'm like, I need to move out of this place. It's time for me to go somewhere else. So that's what my emotions were telling me. So I started just thinking about the ways
I felt like that before.
That happened. Right. So
yeah,
that's how it works for me.
Change your environment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep,
it's same with anxiety, same type of thing. Right.
I totally agree with that. I had to get up. I let me tell you this story. I always have a story to tell, but I remember going to see a counselor. She was a therapist, a psychologist. While I was enrolled in college, it was a service that was offered to us, thank goodness. And so, I would just go to my sessions. I think I was scheduled to see her once a month. And I don't know how long I had been seeing her. And then she told me one day, she was like, okay, I want you to start coming once a week. And I was like, okay. And then one day I was telling her about some experiences, and then she just stopped and she said, oh, my God, you've been depressed for 20 years. And I never thought about it, that I was depressed. Like you mentioned, Featherlight, I didn't entitle it depression. I mean, I didn't think I was depressed. I thought I was just, I don't know, feeling funny, going through life, trying to make it. But she told me, you've been depressed for 20 years. And, I mean, after that, I was able to come out of the depression. But just when I was reading the definition, according to the World Health Organization, having a feeling of not wanting to engage in activities that you normally enjoy. I enjoy writing, but I attributed it to writer's block, why I haven't been writing for almost a year now. But I really am beginning to wonder. I was beginning to wonder, am I in a funk? Am I in a depression? And we used to call it, Featherlight and I used to call it being away. You're away. You're not yourself right now. Right. And so I felt like I was away. I've been away. And I was talking to one of my best friends. I said, I'm coming out of this funk. I'm coming out of it. I'm ready to start back writing now. I got to do it because I love writing, but I have not had the energy or passion to write. And I have all of these thoughts and things I want to write about, and I just can't seem to sit down and write. So I think I may be a little depressed, Rob. But I'm coming out of it. Sure. And anxiety, oh, my God. I mean, you just can't help but have some people. You just can't help but have anxiety when you're dealing in this world and you're seeing all this news and what's going on and people with their experience. And if you're an empath, you begin to internalize a lot of that. And so I think that has affected me also.
Yeah, anxiety is another one. But anxiety has also taught me a lot as well, as far as things that I'm worried about and even how to overcome certain things. There's times where I've kind of had to sit with my anxiety, and I will have a really productive day just because at the beginning of the day I sat and listened to what my anxiety was really, I'm worried about, if I don't do this, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. Okay, well, let me just take care of this. That way you don't even have to worry about that anymore. Just because sometimes you just, sometimes you have so much anxiety, you just want to get away from everything. You just want to, all right, I'm not even going to do anything at all. I'm just going to take a nap, or I'm just going to,
I've felt that many times.
Right.
Oh, yes. Well, you have to rejuvenate your nervous system and relax. But when it's getting to the point where it's every day you feel like, I just don't want to do it. I just don't want to do anything. I don't want to talk to anybody. Then should we be concerned?
Yeah, I think then is when you should kind of go inward and try to figure out why it is. Kind of meditate on that. Trying to figure out what is the reason why you don't want to do anything. Are you afraid of failure? Like, what is the thing that's kind of blocking you? And I feel like, whenever you find that out, you can examine that. And your body and your body knows how to heal itself. Your emotional body especially knows how to heal itself. It just needs the attention on something. It needs that conscious attention. And when that conscious attention is there, it begins to mold, it begins to move. So I think that's the main thing.
Yeah. And what I like about your piece, you have a question, Feather?
No, go ahead.
What I like about your piece, round three fight, when you say I don't get tired, I think that so many times, especially, we've mentioned this before, especially like with Black women, we have this I have to be superwoman lifestyle. Like I can do it all, and I have to do it all because I can do it all, and they're expecting me to do it all, and I have to do it with grace and style and be perfect and give me my pat on the back, give me my award. And so we put these pressures on ourselves because of societal pressures. And I think that can cause a lot of anxiety and depression.
Absolutely.
Because, like, for women, we have to have a certain appearance. Many of us feel like we have to have a certain appearance. Some women feel like they have to have a certain purse. You have to have a certain car. Some men feel like, oh, if I don't have enough money or enough car or my penis size is inadequate, then that could cause anxiety. There's all kinds of things that we are pressured about in life, and just to get to a point where we can not have those pressures and relieve ourselves of those pressures, I think that that's very healthy. But it's hard to get to that point if you don't understand that those are things that we really don't even need to worry about. But how do we get to that point? How do we talk to people about not allowing societal pressures to cause this anxiety? How can we work on that, Rob?
Well, I think this is why it's really important to try. I believe in the true self, the idea that when we're born, we're born with a purpose. We're born as a unique being here with a purpose. So I believe a lot of times as we're living in this world, though, we attach certain ideas that are kind of put onto us that aren't necessarily ours. So I feel like a lot of times it's just like what you were explaining, as far as some people might take on the idea, like, I need to be, superwoman, I need to take this on, or I need to be Superman, I got to do this, I have to be this way, I have to be a macho man, I have to express myself in this type of way. When you actually get in touch with who you really are, which I feel like you can do through being present with your emotions, you start to see, like, well, why do I even care about that? Why is that even a thing?
Right.
So, like, you start asking yourself questions like, that's not even something that I need to really be worried about. I'm putting that on myself for no reason other than I feel like it's going to serve someone else's idea or something like that. So I feel like that is what helps.
Definitely.
Excellent. And one other thing I want to add to that, Bob, is that we all come here with not only a mission, but we all come here with a soul desire. A soul desire, what we really, really want, what our passion is, like writing, drawing, acting, creating things. And then our parents or relatives or society says, well, you should do this or you should be this way. And then once we pull away from what our soul desire is and not pursue what our soul desire is, that can cause depression, because your soul desire is stronger than anything. And if you're not pursuing it, then you will run into all kinds of problems. And you will not find out what your soul desire is until you go within.
Right, exactly.
Until you go within.
Exactly. Yep.
So one last question. Yeah, that was great. One last question, Rob. For someone that is depressed, what advice would you give them, or what direction would you guide them in at this time? If someone is listening right now and they're saying, man, I'm depressed too. I'm depressed. I want to give up right now. After I get through listening to Mind, Body, and Spirit, it's a wrap. I'm done. What would you say to that person?
For one, I would say to find someone you can trust to talk to about your feelings and emotions. I definitely would say if someone is thinking about ending it tonight type of thing, I would definitely say, there's a hotline. You can call the suicide hotline. But I think it's very important, as I've been saying, I know I might sound like a broken record, but to be present with yourself, to be present with your emotions. I think to acknowledge that you're depressed is a great first step. To say, okay, well, I feel like this, and this is why. I don't like this. And then letting that be valid for you. Yes, you feel that way. That's okay to feel that way. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to feel depressed. This is what you feel, and there's a reason why you feel that way. You might not know the reason now, but there's a reason why you feel that way. So I definitely would say, be present, talk to someone, and express yourself. And I would just say, I think it's important to also find people that you trust, because sometimes, you can talk to a person who's not being receptive, and that can make you feel even worse. So, there's people you can call, there's hotlines, people that are trained to do that. So I definitely would say you can go in that direction if you don't have anyone that you feel you can trust to talk to about that. So, but just being authentic with yourself, I feel like is very moving and very powerful in itself. It's a very powerful force, and that's a step in being closer to your true self, honestly. So instead of pretending to be okay.
Yes.
And one last thing I wanted to ask you, Rob, what advice would you give to others that want to become authors? Write their own story. Yes.
I would say if you haven't written your book yet, just a little bit at a time. Sometimes if it's just a sentence, whatever makes you feel good, if you could just sit down and you write a paragraph and just over time, writing a book it's basically like taking a step. It's like one step, one foot in front of the other, and eventually you get to your destination. So I would say just taking that time to just write a sentence down, write a paragraph, work on a character. You can play with dialogue. You can write stuff, and then you might not keep some of it. You can just play around and just kind of see what happens, kind of let yourself go free. I think a lot of times writer's block happens because we're trying to strain how we feel like it should be, when sometimes it can flow out something that can be better than what we even think that it can think. So, yeah, I would definitely say that. I would just say keep writing, keep trying, keep practicing. So.
Right. And where can our listeners purchase your book, and do you have any upcoming events that you want to share with our audience?
So no official upcoming events just yet. I'm still working on the college tour. I will post, any event that comes up on my website, which is r0bproductions.com. So pretty much Rob Productions, but the O in Rob is a 0. All my information, all my books are on there. Videos I've done are on there. So you can definitely check me out there. And if you want to contact me, you have a contact me on my page. You can write me, and I'll write back. So, yeah.
Okay. Now give us that website again, Rob Productions, and the O is a 0?
0. Yes.
Okay. Rob
so r0bproductions.com.
Great. Thank you so much. We have really enjoyed your visit once again, and we will keep up with you. We will keep up with you, see what you're doing, and it has been so enlightening, and I know this has helped a lot of people. And let me go ahead and give that hotline number to anybody that feels like they want to talk to someone but do not have anyone that you feel that you can trust. You can call this number. There are very empathetic people who will answer the phone. And this number is 1-800-273-8255. Again, that's 1-800-273-8255. And if you weren't ready to just actually speak to someone, there's always the online chat. If you feel more comfortable with that, you can use that as well. So thank you again, Rob, and have a good night, and thank you so much for bringing so much information to us and to our guests.
Thank you for having me on.
Yes.
Definitely appreciate it.
We really appreciate you talking about this subject. And Rob, we have to have you back again because, as I mentioned, this is not something that you just talk about and just throw it in the bucket, put it on the shelf.
Yeah.
This is a topic, this is a conversation that we need to continue to have. And I'm so glad you're having your college tour. Hey Now, our TV, web TV series that we will kick off soon. Rob is going to be a guest on there. He'll be probably like our in-house person to speak on depression and anxiety, because this is something we must continue to discuss. So, Rob, we wish you all the best, peace and prosperity, and we're so glad that you did not give up and you were able to step into your purpose. and help us.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yes.
Definitely appreciate
All right.
that.
And you found your soul desire. Yes.
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 Yes. You tapped into it. Now I'm gonna look into this slow flow. Wait a minute, not slow flow. I gave it a new name. Flow state of consciousness. Flow state of consciousness. I wrote that down. Yes. And also people, you can send us an email as we mentioned, and we'll talk to you. We'll listen. I don't want to say talk to you. We will listen, because that's what people actually desire sometimes. Not somebody to solve the problem, just somebody that they could talk to, somebody that will listen to them. That's so important. I have excellent listening skills. I don't mind listening to people. I will listen and hear what you have to say. And I do have a tendency to try to solve problems, but I will listen. I will just listen and let you express and talk. And
and Featherlight is a full blown empath. So I am a fantastic listener. So I will listen to you, and I will empathize with you. I have been through so much myself, so I have very little room for judgment. So I am always here to listen as well. So with that, I will go into my spoken word. I really have planned to do.
Good night.
Yes. Oh, yes. Thank you. And stay on the line. And stay with us. So I had planned to do something else, but I think I will do a spoken word that is apropos to what we're talking about tonight. And it is called Standing Ovation. I've done this before, but it sort of relates to what we're discussing. And it's for all my sisters who deal with the stripes of like the plantation everyday life, whether you're in a corporate office or a restaurant or wherever. If they can fire you, it's a plantation. So dealing with all the things that we have to deal with, racism, sexism, and just plain or unnecessary stress. This is for you. It's called Standing Ovation. She dazzles her audience with her warm, bright smile and her infectious laughter. She is compassionate, courteous, and kind, timid, yet bold and fierce, with an inquisitive, sharp mind. She is passionate about what she loves and cold to the bone when she feels disrespect. Her makeup is flawless, but what else would you expect? She is adorned with the most fashionable jewelry, not one piece acquired from the store. She monitors her physique and is quite careful about what she eats. She has a figure many adore. Her natural beauty is exotic, with skin the envy of more than a few. Her hair defies gravity as it stays wherever she wants it to. Others spend thousands in an effort to imitate, and echo her attributes. But her lips, her hips, her firm, ample breasts are all a part of her native roots. She is light on her feet as she dances on stage and performs astounding feats with incredible flair and finesse. As the scene ends, she takes her bow and smiles broadly with absolutely no signs of inner stress. Clap, clap. Well done. But as the lights dim and the curtain closes, she returns to her dressing room, puts her big smile on the vanity, and cries. She cries. Give that strong black woman a standing ovation for yet another stellar performance on the stage of life. It is more than speculation that she is the mother of civilization. Her lips made full and luscious, so you remember her kiss. Her hips move in tune with the rhythm of the universe, with her sass you just can't miss. And her strength and tenacity is unmatchable. That she can claim. Mocked and derided by the thousands, she's the golden ticket to the rappers' fortune and fame. She is the least respected, least protected, and most ridiculed in the game. Even those who look like her throw her dust and sand in her eyes. So after the show, when she removes her smile, she cries. Strong women cry too. But she's forgotten one thing. She has her own play. She is the director, executive producer, and star. She selects the cinematography, music score, and leading man. Extras out of tune can be dismissed at the wave of a hand. How did she become an extra in someone else's play? How did she become a rider on someone else's Ferris wheel? And how did she lose herself and become someone else's perception of who she is? As she lay her body to rest and put the excess chatter of her mind in a quiet box for the night, she began to meditate and yoke with her higher self, guidance in her plight. When she heard a message so startlingly clear, as if someone was whispering directly in her ear. Change the script. Change your thoughts. Change your thoughts. Change your reality. Curtain call. Encore. You're on. Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste. Curtain call. You're on.
Encore. You're on for another day. So many of us pretend to be one way and we're something else. You know, like we were just talking about. You put on this face that everything is okay when it's really not, because you haven't faced who you really are and who you really came here to be.
Mindful meditation helps with that. Just go into yourself and be in the moment, as Rob spoke about, just being in the moment and connecting with yourself. Meditation is so helpful. So just start out with 3 to 5 minutes. I mean, like sometimes when I come in from working all day and I come in and preparing for the show, I try my best to have a few minutes of just complete stillness and silence and meditation, because it's too difficult for me to go from one episode to the next. I always say that take a break before the next episode. Just bring it. It's like bringing your chi down when you're practicing like Tai Chi or the Abro case or something. You bring that chi back down. It's like, yes, Qigong. It's like for athletes or people that work out, think of it as when you stretch prior to exercising and you stretch afterwards. It's bringing that chi down, bringing yourself back to a balance, a state of calmness. So I always try to just take that little time and just have that time for myself, sometime for myself, to just calm it all down and just to go into myself, just mindfulness, just mindful meditation. You can go to the park and walk around, look at a tree, sit down, meditate, use your hand mudras, and relax. We are going to take a quick break here at the Mind, Body, and Spirit Radio Show, and we will come back with our African Spirit segment, in which we are honoring Baba Dick Gregory Part 2. So stay with us, and we'll be right back.
Make Black Talk Radio your choice for digital black radio. New Black Media for the new millennium.
And we're back here at the Mind, Body, and Spirit Radio Show. And tonight for our African Spirit segment, I just love that little African intro music that we have. We are honoring Baba Dick Gregory Part 2 on tonight. You know, Baba Dick Gregory transitioned August 19th. He joined the realm of the venerated ancestors. But in 1932, Baba Dick Gregory was born Richard Claxton Gregory to Lucille and Presley Gregory in St. Louis on October 12th. He went on to graduate from Sumner High School. He received an athletic scholarship. And in 1951, he led his first march for civil rights as a student. In 1954, that's when he was drafted to the Army. He was discharged. He worked at the post office. And in 1958, this is what I was unaware of. I'm reading from his program, from his service, his memorial service that took place in Maryland. There's a great chronicle of his life. 1958, he purchased the Apex Club. I did not know that. He began performing in 1959 as an MC at the Esquire Lounge. That same year is when he met Lillian in Chicago. And in the program, it speaks about, let me tell you just how destiny is. She was enrolled in college, and she woke up one night, and she called her mom, and she said, I just can't stay here. I just need to leave. She left, and when she went to Chicago, I believe to stay with some other relatives, they went to a comedy club, and that's when she met Dick Gregory. Isn't that something?
It is.
So, wow. Yeah, I mean, she was in her bed. I think she hadn't even unpacked her clothes at her college dorm, and she just said, I gotta go. Her destiny, her script that she had written out for herself was calling her. She had gone down the wrong path. Isn't that something? So in 1961, he booked at the Playboy Club in downtown Chi-Town. In 1961, he also guest starred on the Jack Paar Show, becoming the first black comedian to sit with the host, and successfully crossed over to white audiences. And in 1962, he joined a demonstration for black voting rights in Mississippi. Also in 1962, President John F. Kennedy invited Dick Gregory and his wife Lillian, and along with some other prominent black leaders, to the White House to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation. It was there, on that occasion, that Baba Dick Gregory met the most honorable Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Also in 1962, he was invited by the civil rights leader, the Honorable Medgar Evers, to speak at a voter registration rally, to speak at several, voter registration rallies in Jackson, Mississippi. This was the first time he met Medgar in person. They consequently developed a deep and personal friendship, sharing their passion for justice, for social justice. In 1963, jailed in Birmingham, Alabama, where he received the worst beating of his life. Remember Dr. King, that's when he wrote the letter from Birmingham jail. He joined Dr. Martin Luther King's nonviolent civil rights movement and became a vegetarian. In 1963, he spoke at Selma, Alabama, Freedom Day rally, and participated in the Bloody Sunday March across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. In 1965, he was shot in the leg while trying to help defuse the Watts riots. You know, there should be a movie on the Watts riots, I think, or at least a documentary. And there's like a little short documentary on the Watts riots, but I would like to see more about the Watts riots.
That was pretty big.
In 1966, he shipped 10 10,000 pounds of Navy beans to Marks, Mississippi to feed the hungry. I did not know that. 10,000 pounds.
I didn't either.
Mhm. And we spoke about this last week. In 1967 is when he ran for mayor of Chicago. He met health guru and mentor Dr. Alvina Fulton. He went on a 40-day fast to protest the Vietnam War and drugs, to protest hunger.
I remember that.
The Vietnam War and drugs. Yeah. Then the following year is when he ran for president. And also in 1968, he guest starred on the Rowan Martin's Laugh In TV show. In 1976, he was involved in a protest against apartheid in front of the South African Embassy in Washington, D.C. In 1976 is when he took a hiatus from actually doing comedy, performing in comedy shows. To highlight world hunger, he ran 3,300 miles, 50 miles a day from Los Angeles to New York, consuming the 4 times formula. That was his formula that he developed. He appeared in 1979 at the Mandela Festival of Unity, a world music festival held at Harvard Stadium in Boston, Massachusetts, to support and celebrate the liberation of South Africa. In 1980, he spent 4 months in Iran and met with leader Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini in an attempt to negotiate the release of American hostages. I remember that. In 1980, he used the Forex formula, to help Randy Jackson, brother of Michael Jackson, recover after a serious car accident. And in 1981, he participated. You remember that?
I remember that.
I don't remember that. I don't too much recall of that one.
You were young.
I was just a baby. In 1981, he participated in the 70-day zero nutrition fasting experiment to help doctors of Dillard University's Flint Goodrich Hospital study the effects of malnutrition on the human body. He ended the fast with a 100-mile walk from New Orleans to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. In 1982, he developed an all-diet product with Dr. David Allen, with the 4-time nutrition formula as its base. And then 2 years later is when he founded Dick Gregory Health Enterprises and launched the Bahamian Diet with the 4 times formula with business partner John Bellamy. And this is when I became more familiar with him, with this Bahamian Diet, because I remember people had their little Bahamian Diet in their homes. So I remember. Now, I used to get him mixed up with Famous Amos, the Cookie Man, Famous Amos. You remember?
Oh, yeah.
Him? Yeah.
Yeah,
I used to get, because I was, still quite young. But I knew Dick Gregory. I knew about him from the Bahamian Diet, and, Famous Amos cookies were famous. And they favored to me because I was young. They looked alike. I mean, I remember seeing those black faces on products in the home.
Right.
In 1980, what? Yeah, both of them had beards. They were about the same complexion. And just to kind of conclude a little bit of his life, I mean, he was just so phenomenal. 1992, he started the campaign for human dignity to fight crime in St. Louis neighborhoods. So people act like, black folks not doing anything to fight crime in their neighborhoods. But here we are right here back in 1992, before it became popular for so many of these people to protest about what's going on in St. Louis. He was already involved and engaged in taking action. Let's see. And I don't remember. In 2014, he was featured in a Nike sneaker advertisement with NBA star Kevin Durant. I don't too much remember that. In 2015, he received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. In 2017, well, let me go to this one. 2016, the New York City stage play Turn Me Loose, starring Joe Morton, Papa Pope, depicted his life. And I love Joe Morton. 2017, he completed his last book, Defining Moments in Black History, in July. And 2017, August 19th, is when he transitioned. Baba Dick Gregory, we love you. We honor you. We will always, always appreciate your wisdom. Whew. I can just go
Spirit is always here.
Yes.
All right. Wonderful. What a great tribute to a great man. His spirit will always, always be here. Always. And we will constantly bring up his attribution that he made to, his contribution, that he made to of us all, to us all. Now, I would like to share something with Love the Body. This is it's a powerful superfood. It's an antioxidant and antifungal. And you can also cook with it. This is coconut oil. This coconut oil has numerous health benefits. Not only good for you, but for your pet as well. So I would like to share some of these. You can use it topically. And as I said, you can take it internally. Not too many things you can find like that. Keep that in mind, too. When you put something on your skin, it, let's see, about how much? 35 to 40% goes in your body. So it does affect your organs. So coconut oil fights inflammation. It kills bacteria and viruses. It balances your hormone system. It can also be used as a laxative. It kills Candida yeast. And it keeps your pet healthy. And it's got some health, beauty benefits as well. So for men, it's great for razor bumps. I had a breakout. I very seldom get breakouts because I try to take very good care of my skin. But I guess I was stressed. And let's see, this was Monday afternoon around 2. I noticed it because it wasn't there that morning. So what I did was I put a little coconut oil and I mixed about a drop of tea tree oil. I keep those things in my cabinet. And I just started putting it on this breakout about 3 or 4 times a day. And by noonish Tuesday, it was starting to disappear. It just had a little scab. And today, Wednesday, it is gone. I do not see any signs of it. Coconut oil is great. It speeds up your metabolism. And when you get a breakout, ladies and gentlemen, do not pick with it. That's the worst thing you can do. Do not pick with it. You just leave marks on your skin. If you take 2 tablespoons a day of coconut oil, it will boost your immune system and it helps your thyroid. It's great for your digestive system. It's a laxative. It's a fat-burning supplement. It's good to use instead of butter or cooking oil. It's a replacement. It has a very high cooking content. So it's actually better for cooking if you want to have your stove up pretty high than olive oil or grapeseed oil. It maintains its structure and it doesn't turn rancid. It increases your energy. And if you have a pet, you can put a teaspoon per 10 pounds into their food. Start with about 1/4 of this amount and then build up to the dosage over 3 to 4 weeks. Never start your pet on something full totally unless directed by your vet. Just gradually ease it in there. So 1 teaspoon per 10 pounds. You can also use it on your dog's coat to repel fleas. Fleas do not like it. If they have fleas, you can put it on their coat very liberally and the fleas will fall off. And it's non-toxic. Dogs love to lick it. When you put it on their skin, on their coat, they lick it off, and it's a nice treat for them. If you have a cat, an average-sized cat will take about 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon per day or twice a day. And again, start slow with the dosage. Now, for beauty, It's great for shaving your legs. It leaves your legs really smooth. You don't have to buy the cream. It's good for your dry cuticles. And here's a little tip. It's a cheek highlighter. You can place it on your cheek after your makeup, over your makeup, and just leave it on. Place it on your cheeks after you've done your makeup. It gives your skin a natural glow. It won't.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Pause. Now, are you just glowing because your face is greasy, or is it really giving you a highlighted look?
It's giving you a highlight. You don't slap it on. You just dab it on at the I know. For those listening, don't pay attention to her. Just put a couple of dabs at the top of your cheek. Blend it in. Don't interfere with your makeup. Dab. And you have a nice, natural glow. Okay? Mm-hmm. Hair conditioner. Deep conditioner. Conditioner for your hair. It absorbs better than other oils. Or you can use it on the tips of your hair for shine, just a little. Don't go crazy. You can also use it as an eye makeup remover. So save that money. You don't have to buy eye makeup remover. As a moisturizer, use it at night to reduce wrinkles. Massage it into your face at night before you go to bed. It helps reduce the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. Fights premature aging. Men, you can use it too. I use it when I'm not going anywhere. I just put it on in the daytime as well. It helps your dry skin, your hands, your entire body. It absorbs into your skin much better than lotion. It doesn't clog your pores. And it's great for your scalp. It has a nice fragrance. And as a body scrub, use half cup of coconut oil mixed with 1 cup of brown sugar or sea salt. I use sea salt. And if you have it, 3 to 5 drops of your favorite essential oil. And you have a natural body scrub for smooth, glowing skin. Save that money. Don't have to buy a body scrub. It's right there in your coconut oil. So, coconut oil, get some. It's time for our R&R. Time to relax. Everybody just take a deep breath. And we're going to stand for this. We're going to stand. Okay. We've been in elementary, and we're moving up to middle school. Okay?
All right.
So, stand with your knees relaxed. Relax your tailbone as if you're about to sit. Place your hands on your lower abdomen, about 2 inches below your navel. This is your energy center. It's known as the Dangjin. Women, place your left hand over your right, and men, your right hand over your left. Now take some deep breaths, filling your abdomen as you inhale. Your hands should move outward like a balloon as you inhale, and your stomach should go in towards your spine as you exhale. Relax and ground yourself into the earth. Relax your chest as you inhale. When you relax your chest, when your chest is relaxed, the air naturally flows down to your abdomen. So, breathe in through your nose, and we're going to breathe into the count of 4. So, breathe in through your nose, and then we're going to exhale slowly through your mouth. And pierce your mouth as if you're about to whistle. So, inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Centering, grounding. So allow your chi or your energy to gather in your lower stomach, your lower abdomen. Let's let go of all your worries of yesterday, all your anxieties of what you're going to do tomorrow. And just be in the now. As we were talking about earlier, be in the now. Pay attention to your body right now. When we bring our attention to our body, Well, we bring our awareness into the present moment. Your lower dungeon, your lower stomach, is your energy reservoir. It's where we store all of our good chi. So when the mind is rooted in the lower abdomen and our energy is centered, we feel balanced and do not get thrown off so easily by life challenges. Okay, so now bend your knees slightly. Relax your shoulders, relax your face, tuck your chin in slightly, and place your feet slightly wider than shoulder width apart. And slowly begin to turn your hips and your waist, and your arms will follow along. Now gently knock over your lower abdomen and your lower back with your hands as you twist. Your hands are stimulating the pressure point on your lower back called the Newman or your door of life. And this is an energy center on your spine, and it's one of the most powerful points for vitality, hormone balance, as well as peak performance. So the knocking stimulates this point and wakes up your energy. So this would be a great practice for starting your day, as well as for loosening stress at the end of a long, hard day. Now bring your hands up to your chest, knock on your chest, knock on your lung points. Your lungs connect to your protective energy, your protective chi, and it's called the Wei Chi. So take some nice deep breaths and boost your immune system by knocking on your chest. Now bring your hands up to your shoulders and give yourself a nice pat on the back. This brings about loving kindness. So give yourself a pat on your back for your accomplishments for today. Gratitude brings about grace. And you can look at the floor behind you to give yourself more of a twist if you like. Now bring your hands back down slowly to your lower abdomen and your lower back. Now, notice how you feel. You feel your chi flowing through you. Now let's do a little shake. You're going to shake your hands, shake your fingers, bounce into your heels, relax your shoulders, and just shake. Sometimes when people say shake it off, you can do this literally. Just shake your body. Shaking relaxes your body. It's called shaking the tree. Shaking the body loosens up your joints and generates new cell growth. It's one of the fastest ways to release stress. And the other fastest way is to smile. It's hard to be stressed when you're smiling. So let's do a little both. Smile and shake. Smile and shake. Smile and shake. Now just slow it down, come to a stillness, and you can kind of feel a little buzzing and tingling throughout your body. So to complete this practice, you're going to stand and raise your hands over your head with your palms facing each other. Look upward, and you're going to gather some good heavenly chi and bring it slowly down over your crown, over your face, over your stomach, pushing down towards your torso, your legs, your feet. Raise once more, raise your arms up over your head, bring it down, and like you're showering yourself with good energy, good chi. Last time, this time when you bring your hands up over your head, form a triangle with your hands where your fingers are touching and your thumbs are touching, and gather that chi and bring it slowly, slowly, slowly down, past your crown, past your chest, to the center of your Dangjin, right below your navel. And hold it there. And take a deep breath. Concentrate on your energy center. Breathe again. Now slowly bring your hands down to your side. One more deep breath. Stop and totally relax. And smile. Release all that stress. Thank you for joining in our Qi Young. So we added Qi
Yes.
Young along with our pranayama. Thank you for joining our practice with mind, body, and spirit. We'll see you next week. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Featherlight. And I just read that Hugh Hefner died at the age of 91. Wow. Hugh Hefner, he lived a good life because Lord knows he kept it going.
He did. He had his fun. He followed his passion.
Sure. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. So Hugh Hefner passed. Peace and good night, everybody.
Namaste.